Hi, Boa. Welcome to 10 Minute Talks. I'm Harshadeva.
Today, I'm delighted to welcome Lakshita Saji Prelis, a globally recognized peace builder and youth advocate with more than 25 years of experience advocating peace and social change across over 35 countries. Saji serves as the co-chair of the Global Coalition on Youth, Peace and Security, where he played a leading role in advocating for the landmark United Nations Security Council resolutions 2250, 2419 and 2535. Historic resolutions that recognized young people as essential partners in peace building and conflict transformation. He is also the director of children and youth programs at Search for Common Ground, one of the world's leading peace-building organizations. In recognition of his outstanding contribution to peace, Saji was awarded the prestigious Luxembourg Peace Prize. He holds a master's degree in international peace and conflict resolution from American University in Washington, D.C.
Thank you very much for joining me today. Let's get started. My first question is: after more than 25 years of working with youth movement across more than 35 countries around the world, what is the most important lesson you have learned about peace building, and what gives you hope when you look at the next generation of young leaders?
So that first of all, thank you, Harshadeva, for inviting me to be part of this remarkable work that you're doing and having me part of this amazing group of people you are talking to is a tremendous honor for me. Thank you for that. This is a good question. I think there are lots of many lessons we have learned around peace building, but the undeniable truth that I keep learning is that peace building is not a project, but a genuine process of building trust, collaboration, and collective impact and accountability. To me, that's at the heart of this work. Also, we have learned that some of our approaches we have used before are not timeless and they are not often fit for purpose anymore. And why is that? Because in many countries around the world, where young people make up a majority of the population, you're looking at up to 70 to 75% of the population. That means almost every country in Africa, the median age is 19. In many parts of Asia, the median age is 20, in their 20s. So 19s and 20s are the population. So this question about young people is a very relevant question. It's like they have lost faith and trust in us traditional institutions and actors. So when you think about this from a peace building sense, it's often important to think about what does intergenerational trust look like in those spaces where if peace building is a process of building trust collaboration, the generations coming who have lost faith in us because the world they're inheriting is primarily because of our actions and decisions. So this trust deficit needs to be bridged and built, and therefore we need to reinvest in thinking about what does intergenerational peace building looks like. And when it comes to hope, this dilemma is also what brings me hope. Hope because young leaders are not waiting to be invited to our tables. They're actually redefining and creating new forms of tables for their own engagement that gains a lot of credibility in the eyes of themselves, in their peers. So our relevance is based on how much we embrace those or cling on to the old ways of our work. So to me, this dilemma is a wake-up call. The hope is the wake-up call for us as traditional institutions to understand how to build a bridge across generations and think about them not as we have all the answers, but see each other as partners and collaborators, recognizing the power differences also. To me, that's the hope also because of that.
Great, Sajid. My second question is: you played a key role in advocating for UN Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace, and security. Looking back, what was the hardest part of convincing world leaders that young people can be peace builders and not just recipient of sport?
Yeah, again, I want to be very honest here, Harshadeva. For me, the first lesson I learned from the early days, the hardest part was me. I made the process, the advocacy for a Security Council resolution all about me. I remember I was making this advocacy. It felt like I wanted to be the cool person. I wanted to be the one who was the hero saying, I did this. And when we heard that there is no interest in an agenda on youth and security and peace, or at the time youth and peace building, it was a massive gut punch. But that gut punch was the wake up call to realize, wow, I made it all about me. My ego was in the way. And as soon as I removed my ego from the picture, things start to become clearer. So what I did was I realized two things. One, get rid of my ego because this is not cannot be about me. It's much bigger than me and anybody else in the space. That helped open up. Second, when people at the Security Council were saying no, the no didn't mean no. That also meant they don't know enough about the agenda. They don't know enough about who young people are. And that is what led to this creation of this global coalition on youth peace and security. Now it's about 150 government partners large, including UN agencies, intergovernmental bodies from the European Union, African Union, to youth-led organizations and networks from around the world. A lot of academics and scholars coming into the picture. Donors are interested. We are collectively shaping an agenda. I think the focus right now is we focused on the norm setting. The no turned into a yes because it made it a collective effort of a coalition of actors led by young people. Over 11,000 young people from 109 countries shaped that agenda. Now it's about translating those global norms in Security Council resolutions to institutional commitments, and at the country level, making young people feel seen, heard, and valued, making sure there is collaboration between governments and young people, even though they don't trust one another well. And third, focusing on collective impact. And here, the notion of power, I think, is relevant because power through vertical structures of organizations and network power of youth are actually really at the heart of this work. So the lessons we learned is when we make it about us, it makes it be even more effective. But the idea of working across powers dynamics, network power and vertical power, is the other secret ingredient of how this has succeeded, is bringing those deliberately together for collective impact itself. I hope that helps.
Wonderful. Saji, when I look at young people today, I see that artificial intelligence and digital technologies are increasingly shaping how they communicate, learn, and organize. We often hear about risks. I would like to take more optimistic view. From your perspective, what opportunities do these technologies create for peace building?
Hmm. Wow, what a really powerful question. Thank you for this. So to me, I mean, AI, artificial intelligence, and technology are just tools that we've had throughout history. We've had different tools from a hammer and a sickle to computers. When we were going to school in Sri Lanka, it was a tablets. I was writing a chalk tablet, not a technology tablet. There was tools. They became smart when we were able to use them wisely. So technology now, if it is actually safe, if it's ethical, and it's serving humanity, then it actually becomes smarter, right? So I want to focus a little bit on the idea of civic tech, and a part of civic tech is deliberative tech. I think this is where the most hope is actually in the civic technology spaces. And let's look at it in a country perspective. Let's take, for example, in Kenya. In Kenya, there's over 58 million people in the country. There's 47 counties across the country. So how can decisions makers make sense of young people across a country where the median age is only 19 or so? There's 58 million people in the country, 47 counties. How can a decision maker understand how to engage such a population, understand their grievances? Now, mind you, this is a country that was seeing wide-scale protests over the last several years with calls for the leadership to resign because they have failed to address the people's needs. So this is where technology can be leveraged to actually understand people's needs at a scale of 58 million people. But it is not going to happen if you don't have the right architecture. In Kenya, the Kenya Coalition on Youth, Peace and Security has over 235 members, part of the coalition, representing all 47 counties. And over 16 government ministries, local and national, are part of the coalition. While people are on the streets protesting, they're asking a new question. They're not saying we want the president to leave. What we're saying is we know the government is there, going to be there today, tomorrow, and day after, whoever it is going to be. We still need policies, processes, institutions that make young people feel seen, heard, and valued, that they have benefits from. So technology becomes smarter and useful, especially deliberative tools, when you have an architecture to use it. And this is where the benefit is. I think where we've tested deliberative tech tools from Polis, Rimesh, Talk to the City, for example, in Kenya, getting young people in the communities to talk to their peers using technology and listening at scale. And this is where the sense making comes in. When you have 50 plus million people talking in a conversation, it's hard to understand. But the AI tools, what it does is quickly helps you see where there is consensus, where there is divergence of views, where there are people, and the nuances that come with that. That's where the richness comes in. So you actually can make better policy decisions based on that. I think there's a lot of promising practice here on this. And in Taiwan, for example, their police was used remarkably well to create policies at a national level across multiple themes and topics. So these tools are there. If they're used smartly with an architecture to back it up, they can be leveraged to actually see dividends on people's lives. And it actually requires people to be participants in the process. But the tools are only smart when people are able to use it and an architecture of a human level exists. And the ethics and safety and for humanity are at the fundamental principles that ground that. Hope
Thank
that.
you, Saji. Thank you very much for this wonderful talk. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Great to be here with you, Harshadeva. Thank you for having me.